So let's talk about depression. Depression sucks, doesn't it? It is terrible, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But at the same time, I would. Because it is a completely natural response to loss. And how many of us can actually go through life without losing something? We all lose things in our lives. If it's the loss of a relationship, the loss of expectations, the loss of stability, the loss of something we love, even the loss of things that weren't particularly good for us. It's still a loss. And it's important to grieve that loss. And again, depression is part of that grieving process. I just left the Mormon church a little over a year ago. And that was a loss. It was the best decision I could make for myself, but I lost so much. I lost my community. I lost my identity. I lost some friends. I lost some family because of the decisions I made in my life. About 26 years ago, both my sisters were killed in an auto accident. And there was grief that came with that. That was natural. I think people would look at us kind of funny if my family didn't take that time to be sad, to go through that depressive period of our lives. It was natural to feel grief. And I remember after losing them and seeking for answers, because I was still an active, believing member of the church, and I remember reading in the Doctrine and Covenants a scripture about loss. And I'm going to paraphrase here, but it said something like how we are to live together in love in so much that we shall mourn the loss of those who die. Which seems so contrary to what we hear in the Mormon church otherwise, when they say, if you chance to meet a frown, do not let it stay. Quickly turn it upside down and smile that frown away. It's like being taught from two sides of the same mouth. Yes, it's important to grieve and be sad, but at the same time, don't be sad. I made this TikTok account a year ago. And so for the first time, I'm having these videos come up like on this day last year. And as I'm rewatching these videos, I'm like, oh, Kate, my dear, dear Kate. I'm so happy you're happy. I'm so happy you're in a good place. Right now, I can see that I was in the early stages of grief. I was in denial. But I think I needed to go through that stage. I needed that time to be okay. I needed that time to experience that denial, right? And I was in that stage of a denial for quite a while, and I had a lot of optimism, thinking, whoa, things are going to turn out so great. I had such an optimistic attitude about everything. I'm going to find a job. I'm going to start a new life by this time next year. I'm going to have reached all my goals. Look at what a badass I am, etc., etc. I was enjoying that denial so much. But even though in the video I made last year, I was like, yeah, depression's going to show up. It didn't really show up until this last month. Like almost a full year. No, it was a full year after leaving the church. Like, depression hit hard. I've also gone through those stages of bargaining. I'm not going to tell you how, because I'm still working on some things. But I was bargaining. I experienced an intense amount of rage, an intense amount of just unfair rage. I try really hard to express it in healthy ways. And again, that depression came full force and acceptance. Like, just earlier this week, I had the biggest aha of this whole last year. Like, oh my goodness, this is what it's like. I don't feel shame about these stages most of the time. Usually when I wake up first thing in the morning, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta start the day again. Are you kidding me? But it's important to get out of bed, to exercise, to eat right, to shower, to get ready for the day. Show yourself that you're worth this grief. You're worth this process. I don't think it's healthy to deny yourself the opportunity to feel all stages of grief. And again, they're not linear. They're not linear. This last year, I've gone from denial to anger, to denial, to bargaining, to depression, to denial, I've been all over the place. And that's okay. I just started reading Zachary Levi's memoir called Radical Love. I didn't know it existed until I was looking up radical love, radical acceptance. And I feel like that book was written for me. So thank you, Zachary Levi, for being so vulnerable and honest in your journey. He talks about how he started to write his book, which is something I wanted to do last fall. I was like, I'm ready. Oh, I was not ready. And Zachary Levi talks about how he thought he had a book ready and then came to realize, I don't have a book ready. I've got a lot more to process. And that's me too. One day I do want to write this. Now's not the time. In the meantime, you, my friends, get to see me grieve in real time. Whew. It's going to be rough. It's going to be really rough. But I wouldn't deny myself this experience. And I hope you don't either.